Hi everyone, I'm Trevi. Thank you very much for watching this video and for subscribing to my channel. So in this video, I want to show you how you can switch the mode in this Falcon controller F16V4 to be a player, meaning that this device will hold your sequence, your audio files, it will be playing your playlist, and it will be controlling your lights, just like a all-in-one unit. Usually we will use a Raspberry Pi running the Falcon player. This device will be running your show and the Falcon controller will only be controlling your lights. Now there are pros and cons when using this device as a player, which we will see in this video. And also I'm going to show you how the Falcon player looks in a Raspberry Pi. So now you can have a point for comparing these two devices. So with that being said, let's get started. So here we have the Falcon controller F16V4, and like I said before, we're going to need two components before we can convert it into a player. The first one is an SD card. This is a 32GB SD card, and this one goes in this SD card slot. So we're gonna insert it in here, make sure it's all the way down. And the second component is the audio card. So this card goes into this 6-pin connector, and it has a plastic support. This plastic support goes into that hole. So make sure that support is aligned with the hole when you insert it. And then just push it down until it snaps. Just be careful. And there you go. So we have our SD card and the audio card inserted. So now we can apply some power and we can now go into the user interface. Okay, so here we have the Falcon controller F16V4 user interface. So let's take a look. So right now the controller is set to E131 ARPANET protocol, which means that it's going to be receiving data from a Raspberry Pi, which is running the Falcon player, or your computer. So data is going to be sent to the Falcon controller via an Ethernet cord, and just going to play whatever data you're sending. Okay. Now on the top we have 9 different menus that we can go in. I want to show you a couple of them right now, so pay attention to this too. The first one is the E131 tab. We're going to click on it. And right now it says that it is ready to receive data on 16 universes on E131 type. Okay. Now normally I will put 510 in size and 96 universes. This will give us 48,960 channels, which if you divide by 3, because each of the pixels uses 3 channels, then you're gonna get over 16,000 pixels that you can control with the controller. So this is the common setup that we will have. And the recorder, well, I don't use it. I don't know if anyone uses it, but basically what it means that is you can actually receive a sequence from a different source that might not be able to save it in a compatible file that we can play here. So we'll record it and then you can replay it, I guess. You know, I never used it before, but just keep an eye, because once we change into a player mode, that E131 and the recorder option are going to go away, and I will explain that in a minute. So this is the basic configuration. We also have our output settings. You know, we have our pixels. Right now I don't have anything. Another thing to note in the V4 is that if you notice here, we have the pixel type. You know, what pixel are we going to be using? In the V3 you can actually select a different type of pixel per port. In this V4 you cannot. So right now it means that we're going to be using the WS2811 through all 16 ports. Okay, that option is gone. And I see why, you know, I mean, it is the configuration of the controller, and pretty much everyone uses WS2811 throughout all the ports, right? So just keep that in mind. All right, so let's go into the status page again. And now what are we going to do is we're going to go into the controller mode, and we're going to click the drop down, and we have different options. Right now I'm only going to touch on the player. We have a remote, we have a master, but we're going to both of them are pretty close to the same thing, but player is just a standalone player. So keep an eye on these two options that we have on the top. I'm going to select player, and I'm going to click the set button. It's going to take 10 to 15 seconds to restart and reconfigure the whole thing. Okay, and it has reboot. I'm going to refresh the screen just in case, and here we go. So now if you notice, the E131 has been replaced for a player tab, and the recording is gone. Okay, so now the player has a file manager, playlist, schedules, and continuous. Okay, and on the bottom, before we have I think it was the package count that was going to be received through the E131 protocol, and now we have the player. Right now, as you can see, is idle, so nothing is playing, and pretty much this is all you have to do to convert from a E131 controller mode to a player mode. This is as easy as this. Now, what happened with the E131 port? Options, now it's gone. So if that is gone, that means that we cannot receive data from any external source. When they say standalone player, they really mean it. There's no way to communicate or to send data to the controller anymore. So if you're using X.Lights and you're testing your sequence and you're sending the data from your computer into the controller, that's not going to work anymore, because now everything is lost in here. There's no communication now with the controller. Now we can put it back. Yes, we can put it back. Let me show you. We can go back and set it up again to E131. We click the set button, give it again a few seconds. Okay, it's rebooting, and there we go. So now again we have the E131 package part and the tab. Now if we go into the E131, notice that the data was not saved, so we need to reset it to what I previously have, which was 410 and 96. Okay, and save. Okay, so I just want you to be aware of this, that you're losing communication once it goes into player mode. Okay, I mean, don't freak out if suddenly you're continuing to test and nothing is working. This is why. Okay, so let's put it back now into player mode, because that's what we're gonna do. And set. Okay, rebooting. I'm gonna refresh the screen. Okay, so now let's take a look at the player option on top. So on the player option, we have file manager, playlist, schedules, and continuous. Okay, so this is the first three are the ones we're going to be using to upload, create our playlist, and then put it into a schedule. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one, file manager. Right now it's empty. There's nothing. I have no files. The SD card is empty, so nothing will show. We have only two options: upload a sequence, an MP3, and a WAV file. Okay, and an audio converter. Now the V4 plays only WAV files, which means that if you have your songs in MP3, you're gonna need to convert them to a WAV file before you can upload them. Or the Falcon will do it for you. If you select the upload option and you select a file, it will upload and it will be converted to a WAV file. Or you can do it yourself. You click on the audio converter. Here it is. You can choose a file. I'm going to click in here. And I have a few of them. Let's do Imagine Dragons, let's say. And I'm going to click Open. And commencing format conversion. Okay, so this file conversion takes about maybe 30 minutes or so. It doesn't take much. It will convert that file to a WAV file, and it will drop it in your local computer, and from there you can now upload it to your SD card. Now, this is one option of uploading your files. The same goes when you click the upload file for the sequence. You just search it in your computer and then you'll select it, and then it will be transferred into your SD card. Now, doing that takes time. Okay, it's not, the Ethernet connection is not that fast in the Falcon controller. What you could do is remove the SD card, insert it in your computer, and then transfer all your sequence and your audio files into the SD, and then put it back into your controller. And that is what I'm gonna do, because otherwise it's gonna take a very long time. Okay, so I believe this is just about to finish. It's pretty much finished, and it says that we can now go into the folder and our WAV file is going to be there, and then we can just drag it into our SD card. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video here for a minute. I'm going to copy the files from my computer to the SD card, and I'll be right back. Okay, and I'm back. So now we have 4 files, 2 sequence and 2 WAV files. Now, if you remove the card from the controller, and when you put it back, you will need to either restart the controller, or maybe just by moving away from that page and coming back, it will refresh, and now you will see your files. In case you don't see them, so just a warning on that. So now that we have 2 sequences with their files, with their sound files, now we can go into the player and create a playlist out of it. So let's go into the playlist, and I'm gonna add a playlist. I'm gonna name it Test 1. Click OK. So now we have a playlist. Now make sure that you select that playlist and then add a song. So the first one, I'm gonna add White Christmas light bulbs and its music, and I'm gonna click OK, and I'm gonna add another song, and the other one is Christmas Eve from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and click OK. So now all I have to do is click Save List, Playlist, and I have a playlist which includes 2 songs. Okay, and then you can select if you, you can keep adding or creating different playlists, but just for the sake of this example, I'm just going to create one playlist. Now we can go into our schedule. There's nothing in here, so now what we can do is click on Add. We select the playlist, Test 1. It's going to start on December the 1st. December the 1st, and it's going to end on December 31 of 2022. It's going to start at 5 p.m. and it's going to end at 10 p.m. and then you can select which days of the week you want it to run. You can click on it, it will unselect it or select it. Repeat means that the sequence will repeat over and over and over again throughout until we cancel this. So I'm going to save it. Now the priority only means that if for whatever reason you have 2 playlists that have the same timing for whatever reason, it will take the one with a higher priority. So you have priority 5, 4, 3, 2. So if you want to run over the other one, we'll just lower the priority, and that's the one that's gonna go. Okay, so just for you to know. Okay, so now we have a playlist, and it's ready to play. It's active. It's going to start on January the 1st, and it's going to run until the 31, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Now, if we go into the status page, we can play it. I mean, nothing will show, but just to see how it will look, you can actually select a sequence to run, or a full playlist. Okay, so I'm going to select test number 1 playlist, and I'm going to click play, and it's playing. So that's as easy as that. Now this player thing here in the bottom is just for testing purposes. Once you have your schedule done, you can just leave it like that and forget about it. Okay, it will start at that time. Now the thing now here is that since now your Falcon controller is your player, well, it's gonna have to be on all the time, obviously, right? I mean, because, well, if it's off, it's not gonna start, right? So you're gonna have to leave it on, all day long or night long. While if you had a Raspberry Pi running the show, this is the only device that you can keep on. You can shut down all your other devices using timers, and then if this is going to start at 5 p.m. you could turn everything on at, let's say, 4:55. Everything will be powered, and now this will kick in and run your show. With this setup, your controller needs to be on. Okay, so that's it. This is how easy it is to set up your Falcon controller as a player. And just remember again that right now it's in player mode. If you want to do some testing, you have to put it back in E131 so you can test your sequence with your PC or from any other external device. Okay. Well, there you go. Not hard at all, right? So now let's take a look at the Falcon player installed in a Raspberry Pi. Okay, so this is the Falcon player running on a Raspberry Pi. So just as you look at it, it's way more robust. It has many other options that you will not find on a Falcon controller. So here we have just the playlist showing in the status page. We can set up the network, multi-sync, FPP settings, backups, proxy, command presets, effects, a lot of stuff that we can do. The content setup, well, we have the file manager, we got playlists, we can upload audio, video, images, effects, a lot of things that we cannot do on the Falcon controller. We have the scheduler. It looks similar that the one on the Falcon controller. Input output setup. We have outputs. Now the Falcon player, which is running in the Raspberry Pi, is going to output the data to the Falcon player, Falcon controller. I mean, right now I only have one, which is a B3, and it has its IP address. I'm sending 96 universes, but if I add a count of 2, now I can control 2 controllers, right? This one could be my B4, and this might be 51, and so on and so on. So you can actually send data to 2 controllers at the same time, which we cannot do on our standalone Falcon player. And many other things that we can do with the Falcon player when it's running on the Raspberry Pi. So at the end of the day is you choose which one to use. It might come to the budget, or if you're starting with a very small sequence, a very small Christmas show, maybe running your show from the Falcon controller is the way to go. And maybe next year you can move into a Raspberry Pi running the Falcon player. Okay, and that's the end of this video. Thank you again very much for watching this video and for subscribing to my channel. Please click the thumbs up, and I'll be seeing you soon. Thank you.